Now it's like, oh, now I see how I can use Birkman and why this is so impactful for me as a leader.
Idea of taking and building on the foundations that come from signature certification to the next level, for me, is where the magic of Birkman starts to really come to life for coaches and for internal consultants within organizations. The idea around professional development to be able to take that next step, that next level of understanding, and look, in a sense, behind the curtain of what's going on behind the scenes, whether it's with the data, with the norms, with the intersection of how components play together with each other. For me, the power of that is a bit mind-blowing. And I remember my first experience with that as a participant many years ago, and realizing that all I wanted to do was go back and redo every Birkman conversation I'd ever had because of the insights that I gleaned from this level of insight.
The interpretation courses, we have 7 modules, and each of those modules is going to take a deeper dive into how to interpret the Birkman data. Okay, so we start off right, really looking at behind the scenes, starting to look at patterns, understanding why we look at patterns, how that can help us to become a better consultant and be able to better guide our client and guide our way through the data, to be able to look at the patterns and say where is going to be potentially is the most impactful data for the individual that I'm going to be working with. So we start looking at patterns. We then really deep dive into understanding really what the components are and are not measuring, and making sure that we're staying pure to Dr. Birkman's original intent when it comes to components. And then we start really linking things together. I think one of the greatest benefits of the interpretation class is taking from signature, where we learn each individual component, almost like 9 strands of spaghetti, if you like. Now we're going to take them, swirl those strands of spaghetti together to start to really look at how these components come together in a real human being. Then when it comes to application, that's where Dana and I can really leverage our experience working with organizations, working with individuals, to help newly certified, and people who've been certified for a long time, work in different applications with Birkman. So we'll be looking at coaching, using our experience to support people with developing their ability to coach effectively using Birkman. We also look at teams. How so many of us, we're very comfortable working with individuals, and then suddenly, I've got a group of 12 people next week. What do I do with a team? We take the ideas that are laid down in the signature certification around really looking at the Birkman through the lens of emotional intelligence. And we have an application course around that, really digging much deeper into how Birkman and emotional intelligence can come together, and how Birkman is such a phenomenal tool to build those skills of emotional intelligence. And really what we've found working with individuals, working with teams, and working with high potential and leadership development is that suddenly becomes very, very applicable for individuals. Now it's like, oh, now I see how I can use Birkman and why this is so impactful for me as a leader. The benefits of taking the Advanced Professional Development Series for consultants is from in terms of business development. Okay? It's understanding the instrument better, understanding Birkman better, being able to go deeper with clients, being able to take somebody on a deeper coaching journey, a more long-term coaching journey. So from a business development standpoint, being able to expand the breadth of offering, being able to expand the value that you can provide, and quite frankly, be able to expand your business using Birkman. So I think there's a tremendous business development benefit to the consultants of being able to go deeper and understand their professional knowledge of Birkman, and being able to interpret Birkman at a much deeper and more impactful level.
Yeah, there's so much of what Susan mentioned, which I think applies from a coach perspective, whether we're an internal coach or an external coach. But specific to an organization, there's a lot of work that gets done around teams. Often we miss so much of the impact of Birkman when we're just working it focused on individuals. And in corporate organizations, there's so much power in the ability for individuals to understand their teams. And in those organizations, we often get to work with intact teams instead of individuals, and we get to see the power of the ahas, the open eyes that get to understand what it looks like from another person's lens, and why a person, for instance, is acting a certain way or not acting that way, and how that behavior is, where that behavior is coming from and how it shifts for them. Also, in a corporate environment, we get to have a more holistic look at the larger organization, and we get to see how Birkman can help with, for instance, a team building or a leadership and development initiative, or something around bringing a group together for just an icebreaker to say, what might we use some of the Birkman Insights reports for us to be able to take that next step with them in smaller doses, where an individual focus is going to be a bit more focused on how their style comes across. By using that ability in a corporate environment, using the power of what Birkman brings us, we get to see the impact across an organizational, whether it's an intact team, whether it's a leadership team, whether it's a challenge that a particular department head is having around a particular area, and get to play a piece of the solution that's going to be unpacked, basically looking at maybe one or two components and seeing what's really going on. So being able to do a bit of a diagnostic behind the scenes, and then using that information for the team to be able to glean and gain their own strength and insights around what their learnings might be as a result of that view.
So we're often asked, how do I use Birkman with my team? How do I integrate Birkman into a coaching program? How does Birkman connect with emotional intelligence, and how can I use it to build more effective leaders? Through these courses, internal consultants will be able to build on their knowledge of Birkman from signature certification and learn how to practically apply it to the needs of their leaders and their organizations, while external consultants will be able to expand their client services by applying practical Birkman knowledge and tools and enhancing their knowledge of Birkman in real life.
Whether you're an experienced Birkman professional or just getting started, the Birkman application professional development courses are designed with you in mind. These courses begin where signature certification leaves off, and taking that understanding of Birkman to a whole new level, and providing the tools and frameworks to expand your use of Birkman in your coaching, in your consulting, in your team building and leadership development engagements.